youth in politics and in leadership is a very sensitive issue, which we would like to touch today on the program Mountain Echo. This, given the fact that 2025 is approaching, and most Cameroonian youths and just out of Cameroon realize that there is a huge fraction of African young people who feel so out of the political arena, and they find themselves in other areas. But what does it take for a young person to lead a nation? If you look through the list of African presidents at the moment who are young people, you realize that many of them are really competent and very young, agile, and elegant to do the job. So what does it really take for a young person to lead Cameroon come 2025? Right? Yesterday, we were actually looking at the strategies and stronghold of the opposition or all parties, or the parties that are going to be partaking in this election, and we're examining the possibilities that these parties can outsmart each other. But today we are going to look at the role that young people can play in presidential leadership in the country. And so the topic for today, the 2025 presidential elections, the potential for a youthful leader. That's what we are going to be talking about this evening. And we are hoping that those of you who are watching us at home, you will be able to maybe send us a message through SMS or WhatsApp on the number you find there on your screen. It is clearly and boldly written on your screen. You send us a message reacting to the discussion. We really appreciate it. So thank you once more for joining us on Mountain Echoes this Friday. My name is Jude Mbako Munyo. We usually bring our guests on the panel to help us discuss on this issue. So tonight I want to quickly introduce, from my far right, we have a young politician, Nda Fabrice Morgan. He is a political advocate here in Buea. Fabrice, you're welcome.
Thank you very much, sir. It's a pleasure being here today.
Right, political advocate.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Someone who is in the field pushing the political works through the youth, and actively participating in advocating politics in the society.
So far, how have you been interacting and acting politically for the benefits of the young people here in Buea?
Okay, here in Buea, I have been mobilizing and sensitizing with some young people in the Buea municipality, and especially at my own local level, in the school, in the church, in the areas where I find myself. I make sure that I sensitize and really give youths, especially now that the presidential election is fast approaching, giving them reasons why they should register, they should get their names into the electoral register, not just getting their names, but making sure to cast their vote, and securing their vote for the benefit of all Cameroonians in the 2025 elections.
All right, we'll come back to see how the young people, their response to you, because we are very particular this evening with the youth, okay, to see how the young people have been responding to the cause and your actions towards them. Next to you, we have Nji Lucas. Nji Lucas is not a strange name here. He's of the civil society, Rare Herbert, and has been combing one side of the country to the other, struggling to get people registered too, and has also launched a campaign, an online campaign, to ensure that people get encapsulated on the electoral register of Elecam. So Nji, you're welcome tonight.
It's a pleasure, Mbako, being here.
Right. And to my left, we have Mola Peter Mafane Esembe. He is an educationist and equally a social commentator, a social analyst. Welcome, Peter Mafane Esembe.
Thank you, Jude. Good evening to my fellow co-panelists. Good evening to the chief of Batoke village. I'm told he was given the mandate to head the Fakochi's conference. His Royal Majesty Chief Otto Molungu of Batoke.
Right. Good evening to all of you. His Royal Highnesses, Royal Majesties, yes, in the entire kingdom. We also have a kingdom, man. I don't know why we're hosting that. It's only Waimanda has kingdom. So we are in our own kingdom. Right. So good evening to all the royalties watching the program this evening. We are coming your way live from the foot of Mount Pako in Buea, Cameroon. So if you have any point to our discussion tonight, you can send it through the number you find on your screen. Let me just quickly begin with you, Peter. We are looking at the potential of a youthful candidate or a youthful president or youthful leader term 2025. But maybe because we are talking about presidential elections, sometimes too might not just limit to the presidentials, given that we have other elections that are coming from the grassroots. Yes. So yes, from the legislative, senator, and others. What is, first of all, your perspective, your own notion on the whole idea of young people in leadership, in presidential leadership of a country?
Thank you very much for that question. First of all, I know that such a topic will be coming at the heels of the happenings in Africa, especially with the recent transition in Senegal,
yes,
where we have a youth there. But you see, I don't know, our youth here, they have what it takes to man this country. We have knowledgeable, intellectual youths here who can, seize that opportunity. But our problem comes back to, are they willing to? Are they given the enabling environment? Have they seized their chances? Have they registered in the electoral list, as it is the case now ongoing? And you find that some youths, they still lack that willpower. They still lack that, I don't know how to put it, they are still to be convinced. Some of them are like the president once said that we need to have a daring youth. Some of them, they don't want to come out of their shell. I don't know for whatsoever reason, but I think that we have what it takes. We have good youths in this country that can man this country. Of course, we have even seen it in the confidence that the head of state has given some youths. We have the likes of Dr. Manauda Malashi heading public health. So you see, I think that more of such advantages and possibilities should be given to young people. But now, when it comes to the presidential, I don't know, maybe for fear of not wanting the big man to see in them eyeing that seat. But I think the level ground should be an open one for all to come and try and see what they can bring in. But it must start from the local level too. You should be able to canvass for support at your community level, maybe a councillor, and you move through the various stages and before getting there, so that people must have seen you and they must have seen your work and feel your presence.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. This is Cameroon and G. Lucas. Mola Peter is talking about Minister Manauda Malachi, who presumably should be about 50 something, if I'm not mistaken.
Relatively young, if maybe
yes.
Maxena, Jean Enes, Marcela Ngale Bibei.
Oh yeah, yes, Marcela of transport. Yes.
You so have the man of medium-sized enterprise, Achille
Basilike the third.
Yes.
We also have the director of the Boya Regional Hospital.
Yeah. No, okay.
I'm coming. We are looking at young people
who are in leadership.
Yes. And are succeeding. Mm-hmm. And we cannot limit it to a particular area, because yes. whether we like it or not, he was appointed by the minister and the minister was appointed by the head of state. Therefore, talking about the case of Dr. Martin, it means he is capable to manage, and some other persons found him to manage that. Now, this is where we get the reality. Jude, when you look at the nation Cameroon, if you were to look at our laws, for those who do not understand, the age 20 is the eligible age to register for elections. The age 20 is not an issue for you to become a youth leader in a political party, like the cases we have with some political parties. You have the CPTM party, which is quite prominent to have young persons who have led some subsections and some sections. I could vividly recall, I think Senator Moki Charles Mbela came into such position at the age of 21, should my memory keep me right. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think he was a subsection president with the CPDM party at the age of 21. Now, this is where we have an issue with the law as concerning this, which I think it is time for the young people to speak through their voices. We have a youth who is also a vibrant politician, the mayor for the parliamentarian for Boya Oban, whom we all know, who is also a young person, so to say. The point at the end which I'm making is this. The law does not prevent you to become a subsection on a sub or a section president with political parties. The law will not prevent you to register at the age of 20. But the law prevents you to become a presidential candidate for the nation at the age of 34 or 34. You are eligible at 35. So if we are talking about persons who could, why not become presidential candidates to become president, we would love to, or we want to inform the public that it is at the age of 35 onward. For the post of a senator, which is a bit complicated, I think it's at the age of 40 for you to become a senator. So you see, to become a senator is basically seen as someone with a vast experience. Perhaps that's the way the legislator crafted it. Maybe that could be the spirit of the law that actually created the office of the senator as per the 1996 constitution. You have the age of 35, which is the age for someone to become the presidential candidate, meaning Mr. Eseme is eligible and had long overdue in terms of who to become the president of the Republic of Cameroon. Now, you realize that, like Mr. Eseme said, it is always good to have a career path, because if you assume that you want to become the next president without some experience, no matter how we preach it also, I think it does matter. We should have persons with some experience. Therefore, I think starting with your local council, beginning with your council, maybe becoming a councillor, because once you become a councillor, you are now eligible to become a mayor. In the sense that after they must have elected the councillors will now sit to elect the mayor. They'll choose among themselves who is going to be the mayor.
Even a youth leader.
Even a youth leader within your municipality, within your constituency, within your constituent, within your quarter, you could take this position. So I think it was only good for us to understand how to become a presidential candidate, what makes you eligible, how you should. So it is time for the young people to register massively and choose a candidate wisely who is going to defend their interests, such that the party that emerged the winning party at the end of the elections, they could now use the parliamentarians to, why not, repeal the law which prevents a 25-year-old person to become a president. Because we have persons who are 25 years old who are capable, and even younger. If you move to the United States of America, we have a 17-year-old who is a mayor. I think the last time I checked, there is a young man of such age who is a mayor. Therefore, we also have the ability to have young people who can lead. My worry, Jude, is this. We have young people who took interest in the elections which happened in Nigeria. We have young people who are taking, or who took keen interest in the elections which gave Bassirou the victory, who is now the president of Senegal. We have young people who are interested in following up the politics in the United States. They can trumpetize, they can trump your ear all through, as I put it always. They could Bassirou your ear all through. They Peter Obi'd my ear for long. They Bassirou my ear for long. Let me put it this way, if I should maybe get my own terms. And I think it is time for the youth of Cameroon to, why not, identify who is going to become the next person for dates to have my ears beating with that name also. And the first step is for you to register and be keen and follow political conversations, follow the different leaders.
In effect, what you are saying is that Cameroonian youth are not very politically inclined.
Yes, we have had political apathy for long. You know, political apathy is the worst thing that could ever happen to a youth. If you do not have interest in politics, you are lost.
Yes. So initially, when I was asking about the ministers who people have mentioned here and the directors you've mentioned, is because I was looking at age when we talk about youth, because that whole debate of who is a youth in Cameroon. I don't want us to go into those polemics, but we know that contextually, when we're talking about young people, youthful leadership, we are not talking about a state of mind. We are looking. It's not about a state of mind.
Yeah, I understand.
It's not about youthfulness.
We are looking at a certain person
who is young,
energetic, physically.
Yes,
I mean
those criteria.
Age-wise.
Yes, age-wise. So those criteria are there. So when we comparatively to some other countries where we've seen young people out of Africa, we've even seen Macron, who came in at a very
youthful age or as a young person at the age of.
Barack Obama came, I think, around 44 years old.
Yes, 44. Similar to Basiru.
Yes, similar to Basiru. So those are the kind of people, 30s, 40s, that we are looking at.
45. I mean, when you are in your 40s, right? When you're in your 40s, you are someone whom the public sees as a young person, relatively. You are someone whom the public would consider
yourself as a bridge,
as an easy part, because
between the younger generation,
generational
transition.
Yes, transition. Now you can now bridge. You serve as that bridge. Now you take from the people between the age 30 and 45. You take from the age people between 45 and above, or 45 and 65.
But for a very long time now, we've not seen Cameroonians around those ages playing an active role, leading political parties in this country.
Yes.
By the time you see someone who is president of a political party in Cameroon, it is either one man from the north who is an allergy.
That's 70.
Or 70. The one who died was Njoya. Then we also had Frundi, who died. He was also an old person. We had a couple of them. President Biya is there. Every Issa Churima his party is there. The National Salvation Front.
I think amongst all, except otherwise, amongst all, we have people like Prince Ekoso.
Prince Ekoso.
We have people US, the United Democratic Socialist Party.
Yes.
We have people like Njang Dennis of the People Popular Party, People Action Party.
People Action Party.
Yes, and we have people like Cabral Libi, National Salvation for Reconciliation. Yes, PCRN. Yes, PCRN, as always acronymed in French. So these are basically some people who are between the age 46 and 35, meaning the difference, or the age in between is 10. That's 45 and 36 or 35. So this is what we look at, which of course it means in Cameroon, one of the things which most young people could also be poised to see in 2025 would be who is going to emerge at the age of 36.
Before I come to you, Morgan, Mola, we all know that history has not and has never lied. In 1982, I think, when President Biya came to power,
that's right.
He was very young, and well, we are told that when
some say he was 44.
Yes, if he's in power today for 42 years, it means that he was quite young when he came as a president. And history tells us that when this man in his youth passed in Bamenda and the caravan, women were shouting, asking who gave birth to this young, handsome gentleman, which means that youthfulness plays a very sustainable role in this kind of leadership. It gives hope. It brings some kind of different hope to the nation. It gives another air, another vision to a nation. I just want to find out from you how much attachment should we put towards youthful candidates at the level of being a president of a state.
Youthfulness brings a new dynamism. We should be able to say that here without fear or favor. When Biya took over in 82, he was a young man. full with energy. He was convincing. Let me take us back to the track record. Before Biya took over in 82, he had served in various capacities.
Even younger?
As a minister, as a Secretary General at the presidency. So he deserved and merited the trust of our former president, El Haj Amadu Aiju. Now, this is the problem. And a while ago, you were asking that we don't have youthful leaders at the helm of many political parties. I have not gone through some of the constitutions of these political parties. But I also want to believe that the problem might come from there. You cited the case of Nye John Fundi, who is of late. You see, it only had to take the death of Nye John Fundi for the current chairman, OC, to come on board. So I think that in drafting their constitutions, there is something that is lacking there. Like for the CPDM people, you hear them always talk of their natural candidates. Yes. So you realize that there is something there that does not give the youths that active participation to be at the helm of these parties. And these other parties that we have cited that have youths there, take for instance the case of PCRN. They have a current squabble now between the person who created and Kabal Libi.
And the old man.
It goes even to the party that this man is there as Secretary General. Is this Serge Espoir Matumba? So you realize that there is something when drafting out their constitution that does not really favor the youth. And that is where I think that there is a problem. But away from that, I think that having a youth as a president, first of all, will give us a new dynamism, a new face, and it brings new energy into the system. You see, today we are all lamenting and complaining that most of those who govern us are people of the second age, and it becomes very, very difficult. Like for instance, somebody was telling me the other day that in as much as we are in a crisis hit region, we would have expected the president to make a move. But again, the question of his age comes on board. And you realize that with a youth, we'll be able to say, okay, he has maybe a plan to tour these regions and inspire hope.
And that is the inspiration, that the longevity inspiration we are talking about. Because had it been this president was very young, you draw long-term plans that you know that your career can span within this time and you're able to accomplish it. But within a certain age, we all know you cannot cheat nature, you can't play on nature.
Someone would ask himself question before you move to Moga, what else is there? I'll be exiting maybe in a certain 10 years or so. The truth is, once you are 90 years old, you have in your mind that at the age of 100, you will become a burden to others.
That's true.
It is a feeling that comes up. It's automatic. And you certainly becomes a liability because firstly, you would be unable to say certain things to certain people to their understanding, in the sense that you're vocal, many other things as concerning you. Someone said you become a child twice, when you grow old and when you were born and when you are still growing. So it's obvious that the weaknesses is as a result of all of that, which we should not be surprised with that. Yes, right. I thought it was only good to bring that.
Yes, Morgan, so we are looking at youthfulness. One of the merits that many people also have advanced is the fact that with the youthfully, the world is changing, especially technologically.
That's true.
Sometimes when these old leaders, when old presidents are there, let me be very able to specify that that tech-savvy attitude, which is a fundamental drive for every economy today, yes, becomes lacking, and then the economy is also drowned because young people are able to create, innovate.
Of course.
I'm not saying that the leadership of an old man does not work. It has wisdom.
Yes,
but young people are eager to bring changes that can work to the favor of a nation. I want you to contextualize, tell us how much to you you think a young leader can help in building a better economy.
Okay, thank you very much. I believe and I know that young Cameroonians or a young leader has a lot to offer in nation building or in the building of the economy. Like you said, these are very agile people. Strength-wise, they are there, and intellectual-wise, they have the capacity.
The recent newest knowledge.
Yes, they have it very fresh, to build something. But the problem is the ability for them to take up this challenge. I want to make us to understand that we are talking about politics, and especially presidential elections in 2025. To the best of my knowledge, as a political science student, politics or power, state power, this is state power we're talking about. It's not something that is handed over like a succession in the family.
Yeah.
This is something that is seized. And the problem with us young Cameroonians, or most of our is that we do not want to. We have the arena to seize, but we do not want to. We feel like Cameroon. Let me say here we are talking about the context of Cameroon. We feel like politics in Cameroon is all about CPDM. It's all about President Paul Biya. We do not really have critical knowledge of the insight.
Political knowledge, the political strata, how politics manifest.
Yes,
we are looking at just the president. That's the seats.
That's it. That's it.
The leadership seats.
We do not have an insight, and we also do not. So many of us do not know that this politics that we're talking about is a procedural something.
That's right.
It's a procedural something. Like Mr. Nji said, there is a stage in everything. You need to begin from somewhere. You can't just sit in your house and you expect to be the president of this nation in 2025. That is virtually impossible.
That's right.
It's virtually impossible. So we need to begin from somewhere. I also want to bring back. Yes, we know that youths have a lot to offer, and also I want to bring this point that even our constitution is limiting us in the aspect of registration of young person in the electoral register. We realize that this aspect of age, talking about 21 years of age, we realize that there are some youths who are more than 21, but they are how will I put it?
They have apathy, perhaps, or they have a political apathy. They are not interested.
Of course, they are not interested, and they are poor in maturity, and it makes the situation worse. But we have people, young Cameroonians, who are
between 18 and 19,
and they are willing to advocate. They are willing to take up this responsibility, but because of the barrier in the constitution, they cannot. They cannot. So I think that we have to revisit that part of the constitution. That's the entire nation has to revisit that part of the constitution.
So to you, what age should we encourage? What age should the electoral code allow people to start voting?
If we can bring it right down to 18, then it's good. If we say that children of 15 should have ID cards, national ID cards, because of their sizes, then I think that children of 18 or 17 years should be able to be registered. Yes, to be registered into the electoral register.
Yes.
Because at that time there are so many young Cameroonians of that age, though their size are giving them the opportunity, they are able to think critically and take strategic decisions, and if they are given the opportunity through this constitution, they will be able to advocate.
You interact more with young people as and of course I know that you're one person who's been able to get mentorship from different fellowships around.
Yes.
And you are even a student.
Yes, sir.
I think masters is a great student in political science.
Political science.
Good. You've been able to monitor the trend among young people, and you say there is apathy among them. What should be done in a critical sense of it? I know that encouraging through the media is one way. What Mr. Nji and the others are doing, encouraging people to vote on the registers, that's another way. But critically speaking, what should be done at what area, at the tender level, to ensure that we build a solid politically aware society of young people?
Okay, thank you again. I want to take us to somewhere. Let's go to Nigeria. We visit the context of their education. You realize that after your JAM and your WAEC, when you are going to this
public service,
youth service, that is where they begin to train you politically. They train you to feel like at one point in time you are part of the national security. They trained you in all diverse.
That has to do with patriotism.
Yes. I also think that, like what is done in primary school now, they have a subject known as law and government, something like that. I think in primary in the
We used to have civic education.
civic education,
Some
citizenship. Yes, we have citizenship, but I think we are not really the citizenship nowadays is just about you have the right to go to church. They have the right
flag and all
yes.
that.
So if in our educational system, if we can make this aspect, there are some aspects that needs to be incorporated in our educational system universally. We have, I think, I want to say without fear of uncertainty that there are 3 systems that rule our world now, and if you do not belong to any of these systems, then it becomes a problem. If you cannot find yourself in the system of politics, or in the system of technology, that is engineering and all the likes, or in the system of business, then I don't know where you find yourself in. So I think that if we can be able to incorporate these 3 systems in our educational system, make sure that we
are politically taught.
Yes. Politically taught from the base.
You are taught business. Business courses at the level of primary school, political courses at the level of primary school, and even technological courses.
Yeah, those things are those are things that will help us, will shape our ideology, because the problems we are facing now is because, I want to say, let me use for example, in the university, so many students after graduation, they are frustrated because they were not orientated before entering there.
That's right.
And so it's the same thing. So many youth are confused or are frustrated in the aspect of politics because they don't even know what is there. They have not been orientated. They don't have a clue of what it is all about. Like I said, they feel like politics is just about CPDM and it's just about BIA. If you are not in CPDM, if you are not BIA, you cannot play politics in Cameroon. You cannot be involved in politics.
So that in itself speaks volume.
Yes.
That the older generation has not also been able to inspire the younger one.
Yes, I think to add to what he has said, basically he looked at how do we get to bring in, we should institutionalize these things.
Yeah.
And another thing is, we have a problem with some of the old folks whose experience would make them give us very bad information with regards to politics. Of course, we should not forget that when we talk about voter apathy, we are talking about persons who have registered and they don't want to vote. And when we talk about political apathy, we are talking about people who are not interested in politics, or people who are not interested to vote but who have registered, or people who are qualified to register but they are not interested and they don't want to take active part in politics. Now, a bigger problem we have before us, Mbako, is some of these old people who were using a lot of muscles in the 90s. When we reintroduced multipartism and democracy in Cameroon, a lot of persons in the 90s would use some level of force and some level of pressure to make certain changes. And because some of these changes also met with some level of pressure and some level of force, which came from the executive bench, it caused most of these people to always see elections to be a farce. Yes. Some would tell you that the results are known, and I keep telling them, because these are things that totally discourage young people not to take part in politics, not to love politics. Another thing is, we have demonized politics. We have made it to look like a certain witchcraft. We make it to like a
continuous fight against each other.
Yes, and we have made it to look like a court. If you tell someone that you want to go into politics, you want to go in for office, they will tell you that you want to start drinking someone's blood. I think it's because some persons have demonized it with regards to the informations they will pick without any clear position on this issue, because you can't point that out. So it has created a lot of political apathy. But the good news is, if you look at the wind of change which is now blowing across Africa, if you look at the wind of change which is now bringing the young people to a point of realization, they are becoming interested in political issues. Baku, let me share with you, a lot of young people, I bumped into a set of young people, like I keep saying it. If I pick up my phone right now to place on the camera, you will see someone at this hour must have gotten to me asking me, how do I register? How do I go about this? How do I... Before coming to the studio, some young persons I was discussing with, because I have decided that my political discussions are religion. So as I believe in praying every day, I believe in talking to you about politics every day. Like Morgan said, it's as simple as this. The 3 basic arms he listed, one carries the entire power. If you have cash, the person who will decide on your cash will be a political decision. It will be a politician. If you are an engineer, before someone could accept whatever you have to do, you'll be a politician. So basically, the area that has all is the political arm of every country.
It defines the politics and the policies
of every sector in the economy of a nation and the globe. So why should young people who are the ones suffering every day, if it's a bad road, if it's police brutality, if there's no water, they can't recharge their phone. Some have assignments to do, but they cannot actually do that assignment because their phones have gone off with reasons very obvious that there was power cut. Some could not even watch their clothes because some cannot take their clothes to some of the streams which are now drying off. A lot of people are now reclaiming lands. So first of all, amongst these things, areas where we used to have water, we no longer have water in certain areas. So the young people who are the ones suffering, like I said, if you got the crowd on the campus of the University of Boya yesterday, where some areas were vandalized as a result of the mammoth crowd, which needed to have some level, degree of comfort. It's because they want to immigrate. The question is, they want to immigrate because that area is as bad as their country? No, it is because the economy of that area is better than where they are currently residing. And the unfortunate thing is they are in their country, but they are suffering as if they are strangers to a particular area where they don't know. So I think once we make it in our institution, therefore we should not simply tell the young people that it is your right to vote. We should tell them that it is your right to vote, because when you vote, this is what you will change. When you vote, this is what could come out of it. This is when you vote, this is what will...
It is not just about you as an individual, it's about the whole community.
It
when you
should
fail
be
to vote,
yes.
you penalize everybody around.
That is it.
Because if bad policies are taken, it does not affect just you or your family.
Everyone
affects everyone of us. Peter, this is one thing. Young people sometimes we feel like women, that because definitely we'll be having another edition for women to see the potentials of women in being president of this country. But now that we are with young people, this cut across, like women, young people seem not to support their fellow youth. I don't know how true this is, because the majority of those who go to the polls, sometimes no matter how you look at it, no matter how much aperture you say we have, majority of those who go to the polls are between the age range you caught here, 30 to 50, maybe, and you realize that most of these people should or would have endorsed a younger person to become president. But even within the ranks of the political parties, there seem to be some kind of jealousy amongst them, young people, hatred. Some young people don't trust the others that they can perform. Some of them outrightly believe that by backing an older person, I can reap directly, not looking into the future. So all these things demonize our attitude towards each other within the context of leadership in this country.
You're right, Jude. I will maybe take from the last thing my brother there said, Mr. G, demonizing, this issue of taking part in elections for youth. You see, it's a little bit difficult to dissect, but I will take this angle. Most of these political parties have their youth wings. Okay. Now the question should be, how vibrant are these youth wings in these parties? Are youths given the possibility to serve, and after that they are given that platform to lead? Secondly, these youths, do they create impact in their various communities? These are the questions we should be asking.
You should not just wait for election
You see,
times.
Let me take the case of these ministers who have cited. I want to believe that somehow they created some impact to merit, the pen of the president. Somehow the president was told about their exploits. The youths that we have today, what they are good at is criticizing, insulting, instead of working out there in the field, convincing their peers to join. I also want to differ a little bit with Mr. Morgan. You see, even in Enam, they treat civics and ethics there. We have a good curriculum that has incorporated civics and ethics from Form 1 right up to Form 5. Now it's a question of maybe the second cycle, and maybe they are still working on that. For technical schools, they call it law and government. So you realize that the youths themselves, they don't want to seize the opportunity. That's how I look at it. Because if they do, we will not find ourselves in cases where we will always be, supporting those who are age to lead us. And as I said again, there is this phobia, this fear factor. We should not hide words here. Some youths are afraid.
What are they
For
afraid
them
of?
to just venture that I want to take over or I want to occupy this position.
Because it is a matter of witch hunting. That's why Jay said now it's become a matter of enmity, witch hunting, and all that.
And that's why he was
Demonizing
right to talk about demonizing the whole thing. How many youths are willing to take after certain positions in this country? That is where we are. Sometimes too, you hear these old folks and they will tell you. I followed a video the other day and I was laughing where a certain minister was addressing the youth, and he told him, "You people will be like us someday, bientôt."
So,
and the youth were happily clapping.
Yeah. Someone said when you go to the village and you are accusing your grandparents that they are village people, they are witches and wizards. Not that tomorrow you two will be an old man, and then the next will accuse. But we are not accusing anyway. We are looking at potentials, because we look at the context of Cameroon. Most of those who have led this country and are still leading today came at their youth.
Yes.
Yes. So youthfulness should not be seen. What we are saying is youthfulness should not be seen as a malaise to leadership. It should rather be seen as a strength. That's why we have enumerated on the merits of youthfulness. But Africa as a whole, I prepared this earlier, and I want us to check on our machines to see if we can hook up with our broadcast engineer, Madam Kindness Njogo, this evening. I want us to see some of the youngest presidents in Africa, and maybe we'll do a small comparison to also understand why it can also be difficult for young people, or the demerits that young people have to become president of this country. So let us see if we can have the 5 youngest presidents in Africa to do some little comparison. If our broadcast engineers are there, we take on the president of Senegal, who should be the newly elected president of Senegal, Bassirou Diomaye Faye. He is 44 years old. In fact, this is the 5th position. It's a countdown. He's the 5th position. He's 44 years old, and he was elected. He's the only one. No, let's come back to Faye Bassirou of Senegal. He's the only one in this list of 5 who was actually elected. So he is the 5th president of this country, and he was a lawyer and a tax inspector before even being a politician. All right, so that tells you what background he has. Now let us go to the 4th president there. I think it is the president of Guinea, Mamadi Doumbouya, the president of Guinea. Now you realize that this one is a military man. He's also 44 years old. Within the range which we were talking about, Doumbouya was in fact, he's a military officer who served as the interim president of Guinea. That was since 2021, October 1st, that he seized power through a coup d'etat, and he has been in that office. He took over from Alpha Condé, that we all know. Alpha Condé was already old, maybe I put it that way. And this guy was born in 1980, and he's the 4th youngest leader on the African continent as we speak. Now let's get down to the third. The third, definitely. The third is the president of Mali. He's also a military. So now from the fourth, now the third is also military. Assimi Goïta is a military officer who also is the interim president of Mali, and he took part on the 28th of May 2021. He is a Malian leader following a coup d'etat that brought down Ibrahim Boubacar Keïta. That was in 2020. So Goïta there is 41 years old. Yes, he's 41 years old. You see, he's quite younger than the previous two. Yes. Now the second youngest president is let's take the second youngest. I think the president of Chad, 39 years old. Yes, he took over from his father, Idriss Déby Itno. This is Muhammad Déby Itno, 39 years old, the president of Chad. Remember that Chad has an election that is coming up May 8th. Yes, and he is going all over the country now. He too is a military person. He's going all over the country now. I'm sure that he wants to take off his military garment and be able to come now as a civilian ruler or leader. So he's 39 years old. He succeeded his father.
And those are the lapses of military coup d'etats.
Yes.
When you say you have a transitional government, you have to prepare it to return it back to civilian.
It becomes
when the time comes now, you want to remain, you want to cling to power.
Yes, it becomes a problem. So Muhammad Idriss Déby is 39 years old. That is his age. And then that's the second youngest president in Africa. Now the first or the youngest president we have is President Ibrahim Traoré, who is just 36 years old, meaning that if we're in Cameroonian context, where he became president at 35.
It's a square peg.
Yes, it's a square peg. You see how
he's
young.
now qualified.
Yes, he's very qualified. And this has been one of the most talked about presidents on the African continent, given his energy, his vigor, his ideologies. He's been coming places across the globe, even in Russia, where he had one of the most fierce talks with Putin. Ibrahim Traoré was also a military leader and is the interim president of Burkina Faso since the 30th of September 2022. Traoré ousted the interim president of that country, Paul-Henri Sandaogo Damiba, through a coup d'etat. He was at the time he was at the age 34 that he did that act. Okay, so he is currently the youngest president of the African continent. That was a rundown of the 5 youngest presidents on the African continent. But now, Morgan, when you look through that list of the 5, like I said earlier, the only one that is elected democratically is the president of Senegal, Bassirou Faye, which means the other 4 who are young, the 4 youngest presidents in Africa, they came in just of late and they seized power by coup. Yes. What do you make of that? Is it that young people are very recalcitrant and they are a danger to democracy? Because from what we hear, democracy that is trumpeted daily, it is the rule of the law, government that is voted by the people. But these guys, most of the 4 guys there, they are not voted by the people, though some say they are loved by the people. What do you make of the...
Okay, first of all, I want to applaud the people of Senegal for democratically giving power to this very young man and trusting that he can pilot the affairs of that great nation. And talking about these military leaders, I think with my knowledge in civil military relation, I understand that there are some factors, very pertinent issues that causes the military to intervene in civilian government and even seize over that government. It's not that the youths are recalcitrant, and because if actually they were, I don't think these people did not just take over the nation alone as an individual.
Yes,
it is a coup. Leaders. Yes, and a coup, it takes a very long time to be plotted, and for a successful coup to be executed is a whole lot. So therefore, I think that it is in as much if we want to not actually condemning this, but we have to applaud those people for being able to plot a successful coup and taking over those nations. I do not want to say they are recalcitrant leaders because yes, if they are there till now and the people are still succumbing under their leadership and they are still working under their leadership, then I think that it was good, and maybe what they need to do is to stabilize the place.
Country,
yes, stabilize
give it
the
back to
nations
civilians.
and hand it back to civilians because
But they are civilians of the nation, so they are members of the state. Sorry,
yes,
not civilians actually. They are members of the state.
they are members of the
Though
state.
the law may have blocked them.
Yes, the law. You talked about the man of Debbie who is trying to remove the Mullah said, those are some of the lapses. You cannot. Your work is to defend and secure the interest of
This one, his father was almost remaining there too. He was bringing all every tactics to remain there. We don't know how. And anyway, political succession, presidential succession in Africa is something we'll talk about some other time. This was a classical case. All right, Morgan, but Nji, looking at the merits too of young leaders, many have also argued that young leaders lack experience. If you listen every time our leaders speak in this country, in fact, most of them address President Biya as a wise man of Africa. It's not by chance. He was not wise at the time he came, maybe, but now he's wise because of his age. Age too goes with wisdom. Many have said that the young people do not have that wisdom, that experience to engage. You're talking about political prowess, finding your space in the political arena of the continent and the global society.
Yeah.
Many feel that sending these young leaders ahead, they are not going to play the political dribbles that we need as a nation.
Yeah.
What's your perspective?
It's I think it's
inexperience.
No, I think I wouldn't say they are inexperienced, because what we call experience, it is not obtained if you do not dare.
Yeah, that's true.
So
yeah,
it is not obtained if you do not dare. So those who say they have the experience, what did they experience? It is because they dared and they were given the opportunity to do that which they are doing, which I think it is a cycle. The problem with most people who trumpet the youth of lacking, or those who lack experience, are people who want to build a kingdom on democratic institutions. They are not interested in following the words of a Democrat, that administration is a continuation, it's a continuous process. Morgan could be the president today, and if we respect the Constitution, he is going to stay there for 2 years or two mandates. Thereafter, some other person will come in. If he wants to come in, he should come in another time, as you have the case of Nigeria, where you could sit and decide to come back after a while. But after that period, there's nothing you can do. So I think the youth have the experience. And where is the experience? We have institutions and advisors. We are saying that should Morgan qualify today to be the president of the Republic of Cameroon, he isn't going to be the leader alone. Being the president does not mean he is the one to give every single idea that we need to make the country grow. And we talk about intergenerational relationship, which it means if he becomes the president, he will eventually not remove every old person, because there will be a transgenerational conflict. There will be intergenerational conflict.
Right.
Because some generation would have seen that as a marginalization on their generation. And I think it will also be a problem at this juncture. So it makes it very obvious that we should not go behind these evil quotes that young people lack experience. We should know that those you consider to be experienced people were given the opportunity, and they are living by the fact that they were given the opportunity, and they are actually transcending their experiences or the lives that they have had, and they are leveraging on that moment that someone had given to them, and today they can produce that which they are producing. So the young people can do it. Now, this is where I have issues, rather. The young people who can do it have decided to take the back seat.
Are you really sure that
yes, let me tell you something
they're
too.
making?
No, pardon. Let me tell you something, Mbaku. The young people who can do it have decided to take the back seat. Now, there are two ways you could take the back seat, Morgan. One is if you accept what some failed persons will tell you. Two, if you decide not to actually go in yourself and get whatever result and make it better. These two things, you are bound to have it. So most of the youth have decided because they listen to what some people will tell them that it did not work. They fail to understand that they are not these people. And to imagine that the youth we talk about are the majority, meaning should Morgan decide today that he wants to become the president, his mates from primary school will certainly want to see him there. And these mates have other people. Yeah. Like you made mention about some of these persons who took over power in their respective countries as military leaders. Now, there is something you should note, that being young people, they got the pain of the young people, and they saw that some old folks were not ready to make compromises or make better the situation. Hence, all they could do was to ensure that they will use what you consider to be illegitimate, but for the protection of the people. So they were like the Robin Hoods in their respective countries. Take the case of Guinea. That guy is a Robin Hood in his country. Look at the case of Burkina Faso. Look at the case of Assimi Goïta.
Mali and Guinea.
Look at the case. They are like the Robin Hoods in their country, wherein they saw the poor person in need of food and they had to rob the rich person to feed the poor person. And this is why the youth population in their respective countries would come out almost every month calling on them to stay there. Assimi Goïta, who actually is seen today in Mali as one wonderful young man, it's because the youth will always call on him that organize us rallies in the stadium, let us come to have a fellowship. It's a similar thing with the others. Now, if you see the case of Basiru, it is because Basiru got a group of young people,
yes,
educated them, they made their
and also benefited from a group of young people that had been in the business for long, led by Sonko. Yes. Over time, they had been working. Over time, because I've watched videos, like Morgan was saying earlier, corroboration what you said. You don't just wake up overnight and want to take leadership.
No,
I've watched videos of where Faye Basiru, in his tender age, was advocating, fighting, and taking tear gas on the street. But how many people will really? Success does not come overnight.
He has said it. He has said it that power is seen.
You see somewhere, even when I'm not saying that people should be radical. You understand? There are small protests. There could be a small protest,
of course,
even for poor delivery of services. Because if we're in a normal country where we could go to Enyo now and say this Enyo that every moment you see
there's power outage.
Yes, we have consumer rights. Let us march as a group and go to.
We have seen it in Boya where several communities have marched out there because they were blackout.
But you will find the older folks, the older people taking the lead that our children cannot read because there's no light. You also don't find the children themselves
leading that we are unable to read because there's power outage or there's power failure.
And this is where I also want to corroborate that again, young people are their own problem. Just like the women, we have
that's why I said there are two things. Yes,
a whole group of them who do not feel that they should be actively part of this. But Mola Peter, where does age really play in leadership? Where when you say this person is young, because at one point I feel tempted to think that the older generation believes that let us make the decisions, but put the workforce, give the young people the workforce as the technical experts. You go to every ministry, You see other people sitting in their offices.
The couriers and those who always carry the things left and right.
But the guys who work on the field, you go to, even in the military, just some of these guys who are taking part, and maybe they have realized something. Even in the military, the older ones are there. Well, they have served. But that younger group that is very vigorous on the field, between the 20s and 30s, that are dying every day here in the North and Southwest regions. Those young groups, why can the young people, if they can die for nation, why can they not begin
Also die to make things better politically.
So where is the where the shoes of the older leader, and struggle to tell us why some old leaders think that, like the Alpha Condes. I don't think about presidents. I'm talking about the Alpha Condes, who would have thought that other people cannot lead in Guinea. In their shoes, what are they thinking?
Thank you very much. I think the system has grown, those who are still in power despite their ages to always be there and to believe that they have the strength to go about activities. Now, in every ministerial department, those who do the work, just like on TV here, those who do the work are the technicians, the cameramen, the producers, and the journalist just comes there to anchor and to present.
Okay, you mean that the journalist does not work?
Get my analogy here.
Oh my God!
You realize that in every ministerial department you have technical advisors, okay? And sometimes when you hear the minister come out and he's reading that speech, she didn't prepare it, or he. It was prepared by people.
Yes.
So you realize that's why I said the system has groomed them to function in that manner. The young people are the ones doing the work. And that's why I said earlier, young people should, lead by example, and they should do what? Create impact. Because when you create impact, like the president once said, they should dare. When you create impact, it is visible enough for everybody to see that this man is capable and he can deliver. Yeah. But when you sit behind, you criticize, you condemn, and there's nothing to show for it. Yes. You asked a good question a while ago to Mr. Nji, and I was very keen. Experience is not something which you just get up and you have it. You grow it. It takes time. So give young people that time, and they'll also be better.
Right.
That's why I was a little bit not too happy when the minister made that speech, and the students there they were clapping.
Out of ignorance.
That's being told. I was laughing, and somebody was like, "Why are you laughing?" I said, "No. If these youths that were clapping, they know what it means. It means that they have to wait again for another 15 to 20 years
to leave."
Yes. So we should come to that level of consciousness, political consciousness, to demand that we should be there. We too want to take part. We should get to that level.
You learn from your errors.
Then we'll always, criticize, complain. I appreciate so much the work done on the field by civil society activists, leaders, and all whatnot. But this is one thing I would say to every youth out there who has not registered: be the change you want to see.
Right. Of course. Morgan, I am tempted to think that the whole idea, the embattlement between the old and young in African leadership is because people don't regard leadership as a position for servitude, as where they are going to serve. They look at it as a business opportunity. This is an opportunity for me and my family and my community. The stomach investment. Somebody was on this panel yesterday. I brought politicians yesterday. They were talking about the sardine and the bread
concept or theories or practice
that has gone with the citizen. Yes, and it happens like that. People don't see leadership. They are fighting frantically because they don't see themselves going there to serve. Because if you are seeing yourself like someone who is going there to have the country's headache
on your head,
to carry a nation on your head, you have restless nights. You not even want such a position. You want to feel that you're supposed to have some God-given qualities to lead, but people see it as a business. Am I on track?
Yeah. You are very on track, and that is the truth. I think not just in Cameroon, African politics in general has been tempted to be politics of the mouth, politics of the mouth and the stomach. So many of our politicians have made us to feel like it is a place where you go to acquire wealth, where you are in a political position. We see people who when they were in the society, they were very humble, they were very serviceable, and once we put them in a political position, you see their stomach start growing,
and their heads also swell.
Yes, you give us a different impression that actually there is something there. I think if I want to take, and it's not just in the political, it is everywhere, even in the church milieu. You see some people fighting and scrambling for some positions in church because of the benefits they get from them, not because of the service they want to
offer. Yes.
Yeah. So the old people have given us that ideology, that there is not really the ideology, but they have made us to understand, to see that truly there is something there, and people should be able to serve genuinely. People should, we should not be seeing politicians whose stomachs are bigger than the problems of Cameroon. No. The problem, just thinking about the problems of your society is a whole lot to drain you down.
Right.
That's right.
It's a whole lot to drain you down. And so those are not politicians who will bring us a bag of rice and eat 5 in their house. We should see people who are there to serve the community, react to pertinent community issues. It's not just about issues of the mouth all the time.
Right. So I also want to really feel that one of the things too is the older politicians, it's like most of them, time has gone so much that they have forgotten the reality of poverty, of hardship, of difficult moments. Because if you stay in power for too long, you become too comfortable. You start forgetting how difficult it has been for other people. If you stay as a president alone for 40 years, I'm not saying that it's a bad thing. Please don't misjudge me. I'm saying that you feel too comfortable, you don't buy fuel anymore. For more than 40 years, cars. You have never bought fuel.
The light in where you
don't pay bills.
You don't pay bills. Yes, you never understand the reality, the current reality of the ordinary man. Now, we are soon quitting the program, NJ. This is 2025 approaching. I want us to quickly look at our political space and see if we have one or two persons within this age group that we can even identify. Like we keep sounding from here every day. We have this May that's coming, June, July, and August
31st. The electoral register is closed.
Yes, which means that it will be open again next year, and it might be too late for you.
It will be too short in the first place because legislative and municipal elections are scheduled for February. I think it should be February 9 or February 20th. So it becomes very difficult. Now, with regards to the number of youths we have in
that, you can really look from afar and place your hope that this young person can be invested by maybe the political party or can be backed by a majority of young Cameroonians.
You see, the investiture system where you are chosen by your party beginning from the municipal level is a bigger problem also, and these are things that also discourage some youths, in the sense that most of the youth would expect that because of their contributions within the municipality, they think some persons could elect them. They see themselves eligible to be elected, and being a member of a particular party, since there is a rule by the said party that you should either be a subsection president or you should be a section president,
which takes time to build,
which takes a lot of time for you to build such profile. So it becomes problematic for you to become, and you also have the issue of the decision by the section president and the subsection presidents of most opposition and the ruling party for you to be chosen, because these are people who make the recommendations. Or you should have a godfather who is in Yaoundé, who is going to maybe override the recommendation of the section president or the subsection president for you to be the candidate. So it also discourages, it has made so many youths to be discouraged because they are not given the opportunity with their contributions being made within their municipality. Now, if you look at most of our parties, except for those we listed, who are leaders of their respective political parties, look at the willingness also of these people to accept other people. Like I said, I think the problem right now in Cameroon is the political landscape and the young people and some old people, they are tired of the same faces within the same parties they're seeing. I said it somewhere that should someone get up tomorrow and hear that there is a strange face in one of the opposition party or one of the top opposition party, and they get to find out about this person, and let's assume that a positive result comes up with regards to this person, how he has been contributing for change and the things he would do. I think they will prefer such a person than those same faces they have been seeing for long. And another thing I want to say tonight before it skipped my mind is this: the old people who we see are not the ones most of these people will come to at the level of the polling stations as representatives of political parties. Like someone testified to me that they came to, why not wipe up his mouth with oil so he could compromise for dates to do that which they had always desired.
Right.
It is not the category of people that they will meet. It is these young people. So let the current parties, if you want to make the change, if you want us to have these young people jump behind you like we see the case of Basiro, let the opposition party, starting tonight, take the risk, because it is only by the risk that the businessman or the entrepreneur is made it, because after his risks he understood what he needed to do, and he did that, and he has a positive result. So they should take the risk likewise. And why not bring in some young persons, some persons who are qualified? Remember, we said for presidential election it is only someone who is 35 years and above.
All right, Mola, Peter, I want to ask this question one last before we quit. In Cameroon, for instance, again, I'm not saying that Cameroonians should indict me. I'm only doing this for the sake of the program. In Cameroon, the president is there, yes, at least it's strong. But we know that others like the
President of the
Senate president,
they are really weak physically.
Council.
Some of them use wheelchairs. The Constitutional Council, I see some of them using wheelchairs and all that. And then Cameroonians now they have been tempted to think that there's a problem with people willing to or desiring to retire, because when you work at a certain age when you should enjoy family and hand listening to young people, so that they also should live their own generation. So the spirit of retiring is someone holding their feet back. Is there do you feel at one point that there is a clique that has been trapped somewhere and you cannot wake up in the morning and hear someone say, I'm retiring. It is not the concept in Cameroon. I want to give power to younger people because I feel that I am not energetic enough. Is it a clique or they have been caged in a cocoon somewhere that no one can leave?
Thank you for that question. I'll answer it in two ways, but before I answer it, let me give greetings to my elder brother, Mr. Peter Atemke.
Yeah.
That is where they always say
the federalists.
we are here because we want to conscientize the people.
Right.
And you see, when at times these people are appointed, the first thing you hear them do is to acknowledge the person who appointed them, and before they acknowledge God. So you realize that we are not in an open system here where when you are appointed and you realize that you can no longer deliver, your right to resign. Yeah, because we are thanking the person who appointed us, and to us too, it is a source of us changing our facelift. Our families will eat well. So you realize that we don't really have that culture here of doing what? Of resigning. And that is why we have the problems we are facing in this country. Because you know you are not apt to deliver. But because somebody has appointed or nominated you, you cling to it. Even in your poor state of health, you remain there.
Wow.
So that others, should continue to suffer. I think it is time. That is why this program is timely. As we are talking here, we should also put the minds of those who know they can no longer deliver.
Yes.
For them to write. It is their free will. Sir, thank you so much for this, but at this age, at 100, at 110, I can no longer produce results. And, give room for others too, for young people to try. I'm happy so much because 5 years has come and gone. Today, we have the possibility, next year is coming, to vote new leaders. Those that were there, it is now for us to do our checks and balances. Were they competent enough? Have they delivered? Have they been able to give us road, pipeline, water, hospitals? If not, vote the people you want to see. And that's why I call on political parties to come out with manifestos that will reflect the pains and suffering of the grassroots supporters.
Right. I remember I always tell some young people, even in church, that when you are not a youth, don't go and join these youth movements in church. And remember, you are growing gray hair like myself here, and then you stay there that you are a youth. Leave the young people have the avenue, because when you stay there, they will not be able to come out of their shelf and perform. So it's sometimes important that we leave them, it's their generation, to also enjoy the youthfulness of that country. So, it's for the sake of nation that we are saying this. We are not saying that people, if you feel that you still have the strength, I don't want to enjoy old age with your grandchildren, stay. But we just feel that it's important to help our nation. So, Nda Morgan Fabrice, thank you very much. You're a political advocate for your time on Mountain Echoes this evening.
Thank you very much.
Right. And G. Lucas from Rehebet Civil Society, thank you.
Thank you.
You were very instrumental too.
Yes, thank you so much, Jude. Please, for a few seconds. Now, I want to say this is for the general interest of the public. Rehebet is open to receive complaints from persons who are being, whose rights are being violated. If you know anyone within your community, within Boya, I'm always available. You could check on Rehebet's Facebook page. You could get to me directly if you wish, especially to the community of my 16, my 14, my 15, and the rest. Our office is open. You could reach out to us to ensure that because you enjoy this right. We know a lot of police brutality. We know a lot of extortion. We know a lot of child maltreatment. We know a lot of those rights that are being violated in your respective communities.
And those communities are also mentioning, just to say that the police there too have been doing a good job to secure the people.
No, for sure they have been doing, but we have a lot of extortions and the rest. So they can always get to us, get to our office behind the Baptist Church.
Mola Peter Mafani Esembe, thank you too for your time.
Thank you, Jude. It's my delight to be here, and maybe let me add my voice to that of many others. Go out there and get your name registered on the electoral list.
The electoral list tells us that Southwest region is still lingering around 600 and something thousand. No, 400 and something thousand registered voters. Not where 600 and something. That means these regions are actually, they're coming up. The crisis is actually dying down. And so people are willing now to vote and choose leaders who can change the situation so that we don't have a crisis.
There is hope.
The only way now is through the ballot box. We must choose leaders that will help us end this crisis, because you stay in the bushes. You stay in the bushes. You never. Yes, Morgan, one more thing.
Just to tell young Cameroonians out there that truly, if you don't play politics, politics will play you. So we should be we should have that in mind, that if we do not play the politics will play us.
Kindness Njogo did the production this evening. Thank you very much as well to you, JC Agum, for my technical engineer for ensuring that this program was live this evening. My name is Jude Mbako here in Boya. Thank you for watching. Have a blessed weekend watching more interesting programs on ZMR TV. Bye bye. Good night.